Committee on Parole is called back to order. The time is 9:24. Today's date is July the 10th. Panel members today are Ms. Bonnie Jackson, Ms. Pearl Wise. My name is Tony Marabell. I'll be acting as chair. Our remote location is at David Wade Correctional Center. With the staff at David Wade, please introduce themselves.
Gary Goodwin, Warden. Ryan Kimball, Assistant Warden.
Kristen Harper, classification.
Chris. Go ahead, Anna. Anna Ross, classification. Crystal Seymour, classification.
Carl Bauer. How's everybody, Mr. Marabell?
Okay, thank you very much. Our first case is going to be Mr. Courtney Ables. Mr. Ables, if you would, please introduce yourself and give us your DOC number.
Good morning. My name's Courtney Ables, 429-934.
Mr. Ables, let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record, and the board will conduct a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we will let those persons who wish to speak have their input. Speaking today on your behalf is a friend, Brian Delicazar, and another friend, Thomas Richardson. At the end, you'll be allowed to make a brief statement before the board votes. Do you understand our process, sir?
Yes, sir.
This is the matter of Courtney Ables, DOC number 429-934, date of birth January the 7th of 1980. He is classified as a 5th felony offender. He has a parole eligibility date of April the 26th of 2022, an adjusted good time date of May the 21st of 2034, and a full term date of September the 12th of 2035. He is currently serving a 20-year, 6-month sentence on the charges of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, contraband, and possession with intent to distribute a controlled dangerous substance after having been adjudicated a habitual offender. Is that information all correct, Mr. Ables?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ables, your case has been assigned to Ms. Pearl Wise. Would you please answer her questions as she begins our interview process?
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Wise.
How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you.
Oh, pretty good. All right. You've been here before. I was on your panel when January the 18th of 22, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All that I had in my notes that you were enrolled in the legal assistant paralegal program and the carpentry course. I saw where you completed the legal assistant program on 6/21 of 22. What about the carpentry course? I didn't see anything about that.
We didn't receive the certificate yet because it comes from an outside source, but I did complete it in January of this year.
Congratulations. Good.
Thank you very much.
Good, good. So what do you do every day now at the prison?
Participate in AA. I mean, I have a steady job in my spare time.
Tell us about your job. What's your job?
I'm just washing dishes in the kitchen right now, but I mean, it's responsibility. You know, I get up, go to work every day. I don't complain. In my spare time, I read. I do a couple of correspondence courses, you know, trying to continue to work on myself.
Mm-hmm. Good, good, good. What is your plan to stay clean and sober?
To get in some type of outpatient treatment, you know, continue to work the steps, participate in AA meetings, find a positive peer group, and just keep it in the forefront, you know, keep my eye on it at all times and just work hard at it. You keep that up front.
I saw where you completed Blue Walters in December of 2002. Do you remember how long did you stay clean and sober after that? Do you remember?
Probably about a year.
What happened when you fell off? Do you remember?
Just went back to the same friends doing the same things and pretty much picked up where I left off.
You figured it out? You think you figured it out?
I can't say that I figured it out because it's an ongoing process and I just continue to work on it daily. And like I said, keep my eye on it and not turn my back on it.
I saw where you've been approved for St. Joseph's Home. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us about that. What that consists of.
It's a transitionary house, you know, that helps people that's getting out of prison. You know, they help get you food stamps and clothing, and I think it's like rent-free for a couple months where they help you find a job, and you know, you could save some money and get a vehicle and really get a head start before just jumping back in, having to pay rent and lights and everything. It's just a helping hand.
Okay, okay. How long you plan on staying there? Have you thought that for?
I mean, they say you could stay there up to a year. I mean, I'll stay there as long as it takes, you know, when I will feel comfortable and I'm secure. I got a job where I can pay rent and everything else and feel comfortable moving out. I'll make that move. I'm no hurry to though, you know, I'm gonna take my time and stay focused with it.
Come up with a record how long you served on this charge.
8 years, 4 months, and 2 weeks.
This, you a fifth offender. This is the longest time you ever served.
Yes, ma'am.
In 2015, your instant offense, the drugs and all was at your parents' house. So what's going on with your parents now? How are they?
My mother passed away in November.
I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And my stepdad, whose house is with him, I mean, he's still alive. We still have a relationship.
Good, good. Okay, very good. That's good to hear. And we look at your supervision, it was poor. You got revoked in 01, 03, 07. And so you have poor supervision history. You really got to do some things different. But like you said, you already know that.
Yes, ma'am. That was my addiction.
And when was your last write-up?
I had a low court October 1st, 2020.
Okay, and before that?
2016 with the contraband.
And that contraband, I think it was 17, it was marijuana.
17, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So you've gotten out of it. Just be honest with me. When was the last time you used?
October 8th, 2018.
I appreciate your honesty. Oh, that's all I had. Warren, anything you can tell us?
No, Mr. Farrell, his record pretty well speaks for itself. He's accomplished a good bit since he's been here. He's been here about 4 years. He had that one low court write-up in 2020 at Schedule A write-up. He has completed the carpentry program. He's gotten his GED. He's completed numerous other self-help programs, including substance abuse and his regular attendance in AANA. And you know, he works hard. He's got a good evaluation from Charles Ford for his work in the kitchen. And you know, overall his record, he's had a really good record for the 4 years that he's been at this institution. That's all I have, Mr. Burke.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Warden.
This one, okay. Is this the longest time you served?
Yes, ma'am.
It sounds like you kind of got your head on straight.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think? Because you have had poor history of supervision, and so what's different now than the last time you were on supervision?
I'm not as selfish as I used to be. You know, I used to always think it was about me and I didn't care about what anybody thought or what my actions, how my actions offended them or affected them. I didn't care. I was deep in addiction. And I mean, I really have no excuse for the recidivism, you know, but it was addiction. You know, I was selfish, I was irresponsible, and I was an addict.
You still are an addict, but I think you acknowledge that.
Yes, ma'am.
So when did you make the turn? When do you think the light bulb came on and you made a turn?
Well, when I would say the catalyst was me getting that contraband charge. I mean, I was already in prison serving 20 years. I came to prison for being addicted to drugs, and now I'm in prison, still addicted to drugs. and getting more time for it. And I mean, I don't want to die in here. I really don't. You know, all my family's dying while I am in here. I want to get out and, you know, make up some time with my family. And, you know, I don't have much of a legacy, but I mean, legacy plays a factor. I want to change my perception to people. I don't want them to talk, when they mention my name, that's all they talk about. Oh, he spent his whole life in prison. He wasn't nothing but a drug addict. That's going to be the beginning of the story. I'm ready to go home and rewrite the next chapter when they say that he overcame addiction. He overcame prison. He came home and made something for himself.
You have any children?
Yes, ma'am. I have a 17-year-old daughter.
Do you have any kind of contact or relationship with your daughter?
Very limited, because I mean, she's upset that I'm in prison and I'm still in prison. I came when she was at a young age. She was 8 years old. And I mean, we had a great relationship. But I mean, when she turned 16, it was like, why you not coming home? When you coming home? I don't know, baby, as soon as I can. I mean, she's a young lady now and she's upset. And she has every right to be.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Abel. I appreciate
Thank you, Ms.
talking
Jackson.
to you.
Mr. Ables, we'll now hear from your supporters. I was remiss in stating that Mr. Randall Myers is here as well in opposition, speaking for the Jefferson Parish District Attorney's Office. So we'll now hear from your supporters, Mr. Brian Delicazar.
Yes, sir.
Sir, if you would introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like us to know about Mr. Ables.
My name is Brian Delicazar. I've been knowing Courtney for about 25 years now. He has made quite a few mistakes in his life, but I've been talking to him over the past few years that he's been in prison, and I feel that he may have learned his lesson this time. You know, this is the longest amount of time that he's been in there, and I think that that's made a big effect on him. Plus the fact that he lost his mother last year, at the end of last year, I think that also made him open his eyes, you know?
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate your comments. We'll now hear from Mr. Thomas Richardson. Mr. Richardson, I see you trying to unmute your mic. We're having.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you now. Please
Yes, sir.
introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like us to know about your friend, Mr. Ables.
Yes, sir. My name is Thomas Richardson. I've been knowing Courtney since grade school. I was real close with him and his family, and I've stayed in touch with him as well through the years. Really talked to him just about once a week now since his mother's passing, and he does seem to have a will to come out here and do what he's supposed to do, and I'm always going to be here to help him. He's been here, you know, we've been friends for a very long time. I'd like to see him succeed and rewrite the rest of his story as he has just mentioned.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. We appreciate your comments. We'll now hear from the opposition, Mr. Myers.
Good morning, Randall Myers, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. When I looked at Mr. Ables' file, I had a couple of concerns. One was that he had not completed what he was asked to complete at the last hearing, which he's now stated to Ms. Wise that he has, in fact, gotten the carpentry certificate. He did get the paralegal certificate, so he's done what he has been asked to do by the board since the last hearing. The only other, biggest concern that I had with him is, like all of us, we don't want him coming back. He's got a significant substance abuse problem, I believe, based on his criminal record, and the fact that he had that contraband charge some years ago. I was thinking, something like a Steve Hall program could benefit him. Although I do like what I've heard from him in his responses to all of the questions from the board. It seems like he's getting a handle on his substance abuse treatment, his substance abuse addiction, and how to deal with that. However, I'm always a supporter of, more treatment can't hurt. So, a long-term treatment program could benefit him, and we think that'd be a good idea. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. We appreciate your comments. Mr. Ables, is there anything you'd like to say to the board before the board votes?
Yes, sir. I've written something down. If you don't mind, I'd like to read it.
Go ahead.
To say I've learned my lesson would be an understatement. I've learned many lessons. I have learned it's not always about me. I've learned that my thoughts and actions don't just affect me alone, they affect everyone around me. I have learned that life is lived forward and understood backwards. I have learned that success does not come without initiative and work, and I alone am responsible for the effort. The mere will to change isn't enough. I am now ready to reclaim ownership over my life. I've taken advantage of every self-help and educational program available to me. I strive to be better in every way. To ensure my chance of success, I've received a trade in 2 different fields, a paralegal certificate and a certification in carpentry's level 1 and 2. Through self-reflection and becoming active in my recovery, I realized that I was powerless over my addiction, realizing that my life had become unmanageable. I now consciously and willingly choose to apply the knowledge and tools, as well as working the steps to aid me in continuing to combat my addiction. As I get older, failure is not so inconsequential anymore. What's at stake is not some obituary grade or intramural sports trophy, but the quality of my life and my ability to deal with the world around me. When you want to make a big change, you got to make big changes. I plan to change my people, places, and things by not returning to them. I plan to relocate to Baton Rouge and participate in the Joseph Holmes Transitory Program to help further me along the path of success. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ables. We appreciate your comments. Is the board ready to vote?
Yes, I'm
Ms.
ready.
Wise?
Yes, sir. You got a 20-year sentence, and you've only served 8 of them. I'm very impressed with what you presented today. You've done well. My vote is to grant after you complete the Steve Hall and you go to the St. Joseph home. I do think that for your daughter's sake,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
want you to stay out. It's not about getting out, it's about staying out. Sit on the
Absolutely.
front row and get it, because it's about staying out. And I want probation parole to do random drug screening your entire period of supervision. And then about 8 months after release, start doing 4 hours a month community service. Start thinking about how you can give back to the community in whatever way. You got a lot of skills, you got the paralegal, you got the carpentry, you got a lot of ways that you can help others. And I'd like to see you get a parenting class as well. Best wishes to you, sir. That is my vote. I'm on 1 vote.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Ms. Jackson?
All right, Mr. Ables, I was really impressed with your interview. I listened to thousands of offenders over the course of my legal career, and you can always tell when somebody's ready and when somebody's saying the right things, but they're not ready. And today I think you're ready. I don't know what Stephen Hoyle can teach you that you have not already learned on your own. And I think that's important. I really do, that you came to this point of understanding through your own self-reflection, through your own just looking inward at yourself and admitting your mistakes. I think you're ready, so my vote would be to grant to this St. Joseph home, and with the same release conditions as Ms. Wise.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Ables, I've listened to you today, and I've got a little experience with substance abuse. I've presided over a drug court for 14 years. I've seen people, doesn't mean that I have a BS detector. I understand addicts are very manipulative and will say whatever it is that we would like to hear them say, but I was very impressed with the things that you did say. I agree with Judge Jackson. I'm not sure what more Steve Hoyle can do for you than what you've already done. So my vote today would be to grant to the St. Joseph's home. I would add the conditions that Ms. Wise has already added, and that be that there be a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., as well as 3 AA meetings per week, unless more are recommended by the St. Joseph's home. So you have 2 votes to grant your parole. I assume that's sufficient to get him. Okay. So your conditions will be you'll have a curfew, 3 AA meetings per week, random drug testing. After 8 months of being out, you'll do 4 hours of community service work, as well as a parenting class. So good luck to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.